welcome to our Amplified Life and Happy New Year. We are recording this just right after the turn of the year, the calendar year, and into 2025. And so historically, this has always been a word of the year, what our focus and intention is for the new year discussion. And we're just going to kind of keep that. It's going to be a low-key casual conversation with the two of us just talking back and forth. And we think that you'll find it helpful and useful. And we can't wait to hear from you as far as what your word of the year or your intention, or if you set goals. It's not that Amy and I don't necessarily have goals, but something for me, I have so many different goals in different areas of my life that sometimes it gets a little bit chaotic and scattered. And so when I started really focusing on one word and one intention for the year, that helped me kind of bring all of that together. So if you are one that is feeling a little bit scattered, then this might be something that would be useful for you.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful for Rebecca because years like this, my December was basically pretty chaotic and crazy and hard. And so if it weren't for her like roping me in saying, okay, it's time to do this and start thinking of your intentions, I wouldn't. I mean, I think having somebody that you can bounce thoughts off of and kind of pull you back in is such a wonderful thing. And I have to say that although we do this for you guys, Rebecca and I have to be very intentional to do this to keep our friendship and our relationship going this long. And so I would challenge you this year, if you don't have somebody that can talk to you about goals. Maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's somebody else. Maybe this is a time for you to reevaluate some of your friendships and say, does this person give me what I need? Does she lift me up? Does she help me? Or does he? Maybe find that person, because it is just a nice thing. And every once in a while, I'll just text Rebecca and I'll say, do you have 5 minutes? Like, I need to make, we have a little joke, the long story short, but really it's usually the short story long. And so we really even will kind of give each other that time outside of this, but this happens to be a great time for us to catch up. So I'm so thankful because life does get heavy. Life does get hard. It does get chaotic. And I agree with Rebecca that setting a goal for Cabby sometimes can actually conflict with my personal life, or my personal life becomes so crazy that this goal that I set with my business feels so heavy that I have to reevaluate. And so I love the intention. It's definitely something I have to think about. I'm always the last one to get my word. It's definitely something that Rebecca pulls me into every year, and I'm so grateful for that. So do you want to start off with your word and tell us
Sure.
how you got it?
Yeah. Well, my word of the year is margin.
Ooh.
And it's already helped me a ton because I'm thinking of this. I think when we think of margin, a lot of times in the business world, we're thinking in financial terms, and that's true. And that is a facet of my word. But the main purpose of the word margin for me in this year is margin in my time. And so 2024, I don't know. I have said many, many times that farming is not for the faint of heart. And I've decided that this season of life that Amy and I are in right now is not for the faint of heart. We are in a strengthening season where I feel like we've had lots of challenges and trials that have strengthened us, and we may not even realize it in the moment, but I know looking back, we're going to look back and say, oh my word, that was the purpose of that. And Getting emotional already. Woo! It's
Don't do
early
that
to
to
get
me.
emotional. So anyway, margin for me is the word. And I'll just kind of say the reason that I decided that that was going to be my singular focus um, is because I have such a hard time. I love many, many things. I'm passionate about many, many things. And so I end up finding myself overscheduled and I am in control of my schedule. So it's just completely ridiculous that I end up feeling harried and overwhelmed. And yet, I'm doing good things and I love what I'm doing. It's just too much. So, case in point, last year, about this time of the year and even a few months ago, I started getting tons of phone calls for judging horse shows. And that is something that I enjoy doing. And this is the off season for many of the things that I do. And so when people call, I'm like, oh, yeah, sure, I could do that because I'm feeling very rejuvenated. And yeah, so got
Well, I love
myself in.
I was
What's
gonna
that?
say, I love that you chose the word margin because I think boundary is so overused, but it,
Yeah.
it can be sort of a parallel, but margin to me is you can use it with your calendar, you can use it with your like yeses, what yeses. I mean, I just barely
Yeah.
got a text right before I sat down. For those of you that don't know, my daughter is a competitive cheerleader. That's also complicating my schedule. And one of the moms just reached out to see if I could French braid her daughter's hair before the game today. And I've already committed to making soup for a family. And I'm like, so I love that margin is like, okay, is this within my bounds of what I can do right in here today? Because I feel like you said, it's like, oh, sure, yes, yes, yes.
Mhm.
But the other thing that it reminds me of for you, Rebecca, is that we really all do have the same 24 hours. And you know, we are all so busy. But if we can use those margins, those little days, those little things, and schedule our time wisely, you will have that room to breathe and that down. And I'm not one that can schedule out like every 15 minutes. I can schedule out maybe 3 margins of the day, morning, midday, and evening. And that's as scheduled out as I can be because I know there's certain things that I want to do. It takes me to like I am committed to my workouts in the morning. That is the only dedicated time that I give to myself, period, in my life. Like nobody questions it anymore. And so that's my time. But then it takes me time to come home and eat and to feed the dogs and to do the things. So like I want room in my margin to do that. And I know you're the same way. I know you like to take walks and you have the feeding to do. And when it's off season, it really might be your time to just like go through your house and do some things that you haven't had the time to do. And so I feel really good and like that I can see that you're connected to that. And even though it brought
Yeah.
out emotion, it's also bringing out like a positivity for you. And I'm so excited about that.
Yeah. It's been helpful because like I say, I mean, I do everything that I do, I love. And so it's easy for me to be like, oh, well, I can do this and I can do this and I can do this. And it's like, oh, wait, I can't do all of that.
Well, and isn't that interesting? Because even the things that we love can cause stress.
Mhm.
And then that takes some of that joy away. And so I think you're just reassessing and doing things to do really well. Like that's a great thing. It's just a reminder that yes, I love this stuff, but I can't drink from a fire hose either.
Not
Garden
every day
hose,
anyway.
maybe. Garden hose, maybe. Like we're 80s, 70s kids.
Oh,
So
heck yeah.
yeah. So,
I
but
was raised on garden hose drinking.
well, okay, so that will take me to mine. And I was not in a panic, but I was just lost. And then I had the start of the year with a very stressful, well, really, my life has been extremely chaotic for the last I'll just say this, I lost my dad in December, but there were other things that made it even harder, and I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to cry. Um, so I'm trying to breathe. Um,
We both had some hard things happen the end of the year.
yeah, but I had like this stressful, crazy text from a client come on New Year's Eve at 7 p.m. And I was like, oh my gosh, the new year hasn't, like 2024 couldn't get worse. And 2025 hasn't even started. And I'm already getting hit with this. Like,
Yeah.
really? And so normally I will I feel pressure to respond and to take care of things. And I gave myself permission to just not. I'm not answering this. It's New Year's Eve. I committed to something on New Year's Day. So again, I reminded myself, I didn't know of your word margins, but I reminded myself that this is a holiday. I do not have to deal with this today. I can deal with it later. My husband had actually just had surgery Monday, which, is just one more thing. But in the correspondence between Rebecca and I think I came to my word. And I kept thinking of Rise Up, but I kept thinking I don't want it to be that. I just want a single word. And I kept thinking, okay, gratitude, but I've done that. I decided I was landing on Elevate.
Love that.
And I think the reason that it's feeling right is that there are so many situations and so many people. The sad part is there's people that will intentionally try to bring you down subconsciously or not. There's situations that are going to bring us down. But the only thing that I can do is control how I respond and how I react. And so I'm really going to try in my personal life, in my Cabby life. This is where I feel like I can bring both my worlds together, is to elevate my response, elevate how I react. And I feel like it's going to put more control back into my life in a positive way. I'm not good at it all the time, but I'm starting to really recognize when I get emotionally triggered and feel that urgency to respond. And I need to sit on things. I need to give myself permission to not respond in an emotional state and to just let the emotion pass and bring what I feel I'm really good at when emotions are not there, and that's logic. And it's not easy for me because I'm an emotional person because I wear my heart on the sleeve. But it does tend to put me in vulnerable positions every once in a while. And so I'm going to elevate and do better.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if your response to that situation is any indication, then you're going to have an incredible year. Yeah.
And that covers more of my life than just one or two situations, but
yeah. So one of the things, it cracked me up because I got I had my hair done here a few weeks ago to cover up the gray, and we were kind of commiserating, my friend that does my hair and I, about just 2024 and the highs and the lows and the good and the bad and all the things. And she cracked me up because she's like, I feel like we need to give you a trim. We haven't done that for a long time. And I said, you know what? Go for it. I'm fine with whatever. So we ended up cutting like 6 to 8 inches off my hair. And she said, we're just going to leave 2024 on the floor. And I thought that was just so
I love that.
what a great visual of just leaving that behind. And yeah, I feel like I'm getting stronger every day. I just still, so there's so much that I've still not necessarily dealt with. I have really shrunk my bubble the last several months because I've just not had the bandwidth. I've been struggling. And so I still have people that I need to contact. One of my friends specifically, she has reached out numerous times, and I just have not had the capacity to talk and share and um, really visit. And there's a lot of those phone calls I need to make to catch up with people. But I'm feeling more able to do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I also think you need to give yourself permission to reach out and say, hey, thank you so much. I don't feel like talking about what I've been going through the last several months, but I do want to let you know how much your text meant to me. And
Yeah.
it really helped me through. Um, but I think you and I really are open books, but I think
Mhm.
it's okay to feel like, okay, I don't have to share everything all the time. Like it's
Yeah.
okay for me to say, yeah, I really appreciate your friendship and your text, but right now I just can't open up about a few things and thank you for understanding. And
Yeah.
I think that makes it easier to kind of open your bubble up again a little bit because I don't think we have to catch up, sort of say, with everything. I think it's
Mm.
okay to reach back out and say, thank you so much. This has been a hard period in my life. Your texts have come through, although I may not have been as responsive as I would have liked and probably you expected, but thank you for just checking back in. I think that's good enough. I really do.
Yeah.
And I think that's where this circles back to the beginning of our conversation is you only need one or two people. Find those one or two people. And like you and I don't share everything, we share a lot, but that we both have our own circles outside of each other that maybe you sprinkle a little with this person and maybe you sprinkle a little with that. And, I think that's all okay too. And um I think those margins of things that you share are key for your happiness. And like you said, sometimes the capacity feels more overwhelming than the actual event. Like, have you seen
Mhm.
the memes or the reels on Instagram where somebody's laying on the couch and they get a text and they're like, "Hey, I'm fine." And then the text comes back, "Do you have 5 minutes? Can I call?" And the girl like collapses. That's like me doing that to you. Like sometimes you're okay to respond a little bit, but to go into the conversation feels too much. And so I think it's okay to just say, yeah, no, I can't talk right now, but texting's fine. Or, like, I don't know. I just think that we all have those moments where even talking about it feels too much.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all felt like too much for a long time, but I'm feeling stronger now. So I'm excited about that.
Well, should we talk a little bit about what we hope 2025 brings and what we're
Yeah.
looking forward to?
Mhm.
Wanna
Yes. You want me to kick it off?
Yes.
Okay. So when I sat down, I think last year or the year before, we kind of broke this down, rosebud thorn. And so when I was doing that, when I sat down to do this, I thought in those kind of parameters. So for me, a rose is beautiful. It's the things that went really, really well. The bud is opportunities that are to come, and then the thorn was obviously the tough stuff. So. Um, for my cabbie business specifically, the rose continues to be you and I's relationship, these videos just bring me life and my clients. I absolutely love my clients. They are always the best part of my year and my business. So if you are one of my Cavi gals, thank you for that. The bud for me, these opportunities are our new gorgeous line that is full of bright, happy colors that just make me smile when I look at them. I can't wait for what's to come. I've got several new hostesses, but my return hostesses. I look forward to my gals that have been with me season after season. We're 10 years in on this journey, and I just love my repeat hostesses so much. And then when I think about opportunities in the cabbie realm, I think of all the women that have still not heard of cabbie. We have so many opportunities as far as that goes. And then the thorn. So there's been, hopefully you as clients haven't felt this on your end, but on the stylist side, there has been a lot of changes the last few years. And our company is experiencing growing pains. And at the stylist level, it's not always delightful. And that kind of that hurts my heart to say, because I absolutely love a no door cabbie and it's always been my happy place, but there's just been a lot the last few years. So I'm looking forward to that kind of settling out in 2025.
I think part of what we've been feeling though is we made it through COVID and we were like, okay, if we can get through this, it's going to get back to normal. And normal is not what we remember. And there
Mhm.
have been new growing pains ever since COVID that have not gone away. And I mean, think about it. We went from raising prices and not being able to find anything with the economy and different things through COVID. And then we thought, okay, things are going to get better after COVID. And then inflation and all the things like have not stopped. And I think that not just us in Cabbie, but all of our clients have experienced the heavy one way or
Mhm.
another. And I'm hoping as well that maybe this new year can bring a little bit of ease into the economy. Maybe prices will be better. I don't know though. I couldn't get eggs at Costco the other day because now there's a bird flu, you know? So like I think the new normal is just us being uncomfortable with
Mhm.
different things, but it has weighed on our spirits, I think for sure. Um, we both have Cabbie Scoop coming up, and we also haven't seen each other in person for a long time. And my prayer is that the weather will help us both get to California safely. We both live in rural areas. Rebecca has a much longer drive to her airport than I have. Um, but it does make it hard when we haven't seen each other in person, when we haven't been to Cabbie, the launch of the new line in person. There's just such a renewal about going and seeing the clothes on the runway, hearing from our CEOs, hearing about the business. We also just had our warehouse move from California to Indianapolis. So there's this little bit of, and like on my end, like, okay, I could order clothes and get them here to Utah in 2 days. Now they're in Indianapolis. So now my clients are going to have to adjust to a little bit longer shipping time frame, and yours are probably going to have them faster. And so the anticipation for me on that is a little unsettling. I think it'll be fine, but again, that's another growing pain that we're going to have to adjust to, right? So I think just renewing our faith in this incredible company and in ourselves as business owners, and as customer service people, as like serving our clients. Like that's all gonna come forward. I mean, and I'm saying this, and with the month that I've had, the end of season that I've had, I have not booked one show for spring. So if you're one of my clients, I will be sending an email out shortly. I would love for you to host your show. I'm sure Rebecca would as well. If I haven't reached out to you yet and you're interested, reach out to me. It would be the biggest blessing ever for me to feel like, ah, but I haven't even been able to hone down my dates yet, just because January is Breeley's comp month. There's basketball games like crazy, and I'm flying. And so I've just got to like strap on my boots and get
Yeah.
done. So it feels, this right now is still feeling very heavy and chaotic to me. And so I'm really looking forward to 4 days with you in California where we can really just focus on how do you want your season to look? How do you want to serve your clients better? What would you like to do in your business that maybe has fallen short the last little bit? So for me, my rosebud thorn is Rose is the Beautiful, right? So of course it's the collection, but I think it's I almost feel like I need to start my business over again, like rebuild. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I don't live in an area that's easy to network, and so I rely heavily on my clients for referrals, so I need to get creative with that. But I feel like right now the rose has been losing its petals and it's ready to get new ones.
Mhm.
So the bud is, I'm hoping that my business will bloom again and bring me joy again. And I'm hoping that my family can continue to prosper and new things can bloom there. And then the thorn has just, the hardest part has been losing my dad. Well, it was a little bit unexpected and very hard, and he was such an incredible human, the best dad I could have ever asked for. So I'm hoping that I can take his loss and use the things that he inspired me to do to make the hard things not so hard, because I really need his guidance right now. And so I'm hoping that I can just move forward and bring some joy in remembering him and honoring him and elevate, right? Like take the heart and like rise up. So I'm sorry, I did not intend on crying.
Well, it's been that kind of the end of the year. I mean, it's been a lot. So to kind of relieve Amy a little bit, I lost somebody that I loved like a daughter in October, the first part of October, and um that just had me reeling, and it made me realize that I've never really processed through the grief. You know, the last 5 years I've lost a lot of things. Really the last 8 years. When I start thinking back since my accident, which I guess May will be 9 years, I was in a car accident that really robbed me of independence and put me on this path of chronic pain and trying to figure things out, which there's been so many good things that have come from that. But I just was starting to figure things out, get myself worked out. And then I walked through several months of really intense health battles with my dad that culminated in his death January 2nd, 2020. And then 2 years later, my father-in-law died. And then we went through the nursing home stuff. And in the interim, I lost other people that were really close to me. And so it feels like the hammer just keeps dropping over and over and over. And I think that is part of the depression that I've been feeling the last several months, is this why Lord type feeling. And I'm still not through it. I'm feeling stronger, and I'm feeling less angry, which I know is part of that grief process. But boy howdy, it's been tough. It has been tough. And I just, if you watching this, if you are kind of going through that same battle of the spirit and the mind, just know Amy and I are right there with you. And we show up here usually with our smiling, happy faces. And sometimes that's just a front, pure and simple. But
Well,
we
and you
try
know
to
what?
bring positivity.
I think it's a front, but I think it's what we need at that time too, because I was just thinking,
Mhm.
we've touched on all of these things, but there's not a lot of times where we've actually spent pouring our hearts out to each other, because it is too hard. Like,
Mhm.
sometimes when I see you and your bright smiling face, that's what I need. I just need that smile. And maybe I need to be better about saying, come on, Rebecca, open up. Like, really tell me how you are. Um, and I think we just get our guards up and we're like, well, this happened and I'm struggling here. But I
Yeah.
really would like say it has been like, I've watched you. There's a quote from a movie. I don't know if you've ever watched The Other Women, but for whatever reason, this is coming to me. And there's two women, and they find out one, the husband was cheating on the wife, and then the girlfriend ends up being friends with the wife, and they go to like get back at him. Okay. So anyway,
Oh, and then there's a voluptuous blonde that,
yeah, yes.
oh,
Well, anyway, they end up drunken in a closet and they start talking about Martha Stewart, and Cameron Diaz says, and Martha Stewart handled prison like a boss, and like, and there's the other line that Breely and I say to each other all the time is to cry on the inside like a winner. And both of those come from that movie. And I do think like sometimes we forget that we are handling things like a boss, but we don't always have to cry on the inside like a winner. And um, I think it's healthy to just have somebody safe to land on, like a soft place to land where you can say, you know what, I'm not complaining. I'm not. But I really need to get this off my heart today. Thank you for being that soft place to land, because it's not always going to be in our homes. It's not always going to be our spouse. It's not always going to be our mom or our dad or somebody that we think would be that soft place to land. It might be somebody else, in that one moment, maybe just for that season. But um, it really has been a long, like honestly, since 2019, 2018, it's been a lot, and just like you, that season started when my husband and I walked away from our business of 25 years. And like, I just think people's life, ours in particular, because it's you and I that we're talking, but in general, there has been this hamster on the wheel feeling of like, I am pedaling, but I am going nowhere and it's not helping. And the faster I run, the more tired I'm getting. And I don't think I can do this anymore. And thank goodness there's just people that can like put their hand on the wheel and stop it so we can breathe for a minute and just say, you know what? You're handling it like a boss, like look back, look at the strength you've gained, look at the experience that you've earned. And I know for me, part of my elevate word and responding word is really learning from those experiences and learning maybe sometimes my reactions were wrong, or learning um, how to better myself to handle difficult situations. And I know I'm a better person today because of those things. I don't like being uncomfortable. I don't like going through them, but I know that I am better equipped today than I was 5 years ago. Would I change it? Do I wish I had a magic wand to like just power me through the next few years until it gets better? Yeah, but I don't know that that's ever going to happen. And so the why Lord question is, the one thing that's helped me, Rebecca, is really going back to the Gospels and learning about the difficulty that Christ walked through. And I keep thinking, well, he didn't have it easy. And then you think about the women in the Bible, Esther, all of them, none of those women had it easy either. And so I'm like, okay, well, I guess we could consider ourselves biblical women because it's not easy. Or, like I think in general, we just are not that special. Like if
Well, I think that sometimes as Christians, we feel like things should be easier, and yet that's not biblical. I mean, he says he's going to be there with us, but he never says that it's going to be easy.
yeah, and I think sometimes he's there in the lessons. Like,
Mhm.
I think these trials come for us to like I said, how are we going to respond? We're at a fork in the road. You can respond this way or you can respond this way. This way is going to give you the growth and it might be a harder path, but you're not going to, it'll be much more, it will be at the top of the mountain and get to see the view in the sunset when we're there. We don't know when that's going to happen, but hopefully, I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling now, but I was thinking about your comment about why Lord, and I
Mhm.
just think that it's in the lessons learned sometimes. And I think
Yeah.
those lessons in particular come to us. And I don't know about you, one more thought. I hate the phrase that everything happens for a reason. I hate that. I don't love that thought at all because that to me puts me down a rabbit hole of, well, kids get cancer and all the things. So for me, I feel like I have to resonate it with basically shit's going to hit the fan. But where the Lord is in our response, and where the Lord is like him putting his hand in the water and pulling us up, right? And
Mhm.
so I don't know, just a few thoughts.
Yeah, I think that was very well said. I think we can end on that because I don't know how we could say it any better. And I hope this has been a blessing for those of you that have made it to this point. And if you have, leave in the comments if you've got some particular goals that you would like for us to pray over. If you've got a word of the year, share it with us. We would love to hear that from you. And just once again, thank you for showing up for us each and every week. If you have not already subscribed and you're still watching, I think it's time to hit that subscribe button. That would help us a ton and it doesn't cost you at all. And then also hit the bells so you can get all notifications when we do these videos every Friday. Moving into 2025, it's going to be more of the same. We've got so many fun things coming your way for fashion and trends and body types and styling tips and outfit ideas, all the things. Until next week, stay stylish.